Yeah, so I guess just for a little bit of background on ourselves, like, so my background's in technology and startups, effectively. I
Yeah.
spent uh, years as a strategy director at a management consultancy, running strategy and technology transformations, like governments, large organizations. And before that, I had a business that basically partnered with government to help disadvantaged individuals to resolve fines and infringements.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the thread throughout all of that has been, how do you get technology adopted inside a business? And I think that's what's been really exciting about AI. And I guess we've seen that progression over the last, like, say, 5 or 6 years, from it being like a side conversation or something that people spoke about, like with machine learning, maybe 5, 6 years ago, to like AI and now kind of agents and being able to do some things with them. And so, yeah, I guess that was like one of the things that Daniel and I were loving about this, was that it gives the opportunity for everyone really to have an agent and to have, like, be able to operate in a completely new way. And I guess that's what we're going to get into today. But Daniel, do you want to give a bit of background on yourself?
Oh yeah, sure. I'm like, my background is in software engineering, and so I'm obviously from Germany, who moved over to Australia 10 years ago, roughly, and started working for a big tech company here called Atlassian. And so I was there for a bit more than 6 years and tech led like complex software projects and stuff like that. So I've got a background in building these kind of things, and also, just really passionate about AI. So a couple of years ago, I started to go all in with AI and building agents and, fine-tuned models and build AI models from scratch and build like very, special purpose agents for businesses. And that was really fun. But when OpenClaw came out, I guess it just opened up the possibility for a really wide range of businesses to adopt AI, which I think is super exciting in my opinion. So I was like always, custom build. It would be super expensive to build something. And now this is like, it shifted a lot. So quite passionate about this topic, actually, to apply this actually to businesses and provide value, and not just build it, but actually get people, have an impact, or have this have an impact on people's businesses and build for that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and Daniel's great with all things that kind of where my tech knowledge finishes, Daniel begins. So that's awesome. And I guess we kind of have a couple of this is all framed around four questions that we get asked a lot in conversations. We've probably had, I think it's over 500 of these sort of conversations over the last few months, like individual conversations with businesses, and they all frame around like, what can AI actually do? Because there's a lot of hype around it, and how technical do you need to be? Like, what does it practically look like to instruct an AI and play out in practice, and then how does it work? And then there's always a piece around data too, because businesses have IP, you have customer data, you're holding sensitive information, and so it's thinking about like how secure is it, and how do we make it secure?
Yeah.
So I think we might just get into a quick demo. I think it's always good to see something live, so then we can go through like how this thing's actually working. I'll just play this, and then we'll and then we can discuss it. But, can you let me know too if this is playing through the speakers? I think it will be. But
so I've just listed a new property in Brisbane, and I want to call all of our database and see who's interested. So I want you to go into our database and have a look at all the people in Brisbane who are interested in a 2-bedroom property. We currently have one listed at 14 Ronald Avenue. I want you to contact all those people, find them, and then we're going to contact them all and see who's interested simultaneously. Awesome. So let's contact all those 300 simultaneously and see who's interested.
Hey, is this Jake?
Yeah.
I'm calling about 14 Ronald Avenue in Greenslopes. It's going to auction this Saturday. got a quick minute?
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, tell me more.
It's a really nice renovated 2-bedroom character cottage with timber floors, a north-facing deck, and a big level fenced yard. 405 square meters. Would you like to come see it before the auction?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. We definitely want to see it beforehand.
Great. When are you free? Any day this week work for you?
What days do you have available? I have to quickly look at my calendar and see what my partner's available.
Fair enough. What day were you thinking? Once you let me know, I'll check what slots we've got available.
Like if we could do Monday, that'd be awesome, or Wednesday.
Let me check the calendar for Monday first. I've got Monday at 10:30 in the morning or Monday at 2:30 in the afternoon. Which works for you?
10:30. That's perfect.
Perfect. Let me lock that in. Awesome. You're all set for Monday at 10:30 in the morning at 14 Ronald Avenue. Thanks so much,
Amazing.
Jake. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Cool. Yeah, so it can do, like, that's, I guess, a voice agent, obviously, but it's also connected to, and it's a demo, right? Like, so, you know, we've had that working, but it's a demo based on demo data, etc. But it's connected to a couple of different applications. So an OpenClaw, so like an agent that's taking the instructions, as you saw, and then it's also connected to the kind of database of contacts, like a CRM, as well as the scheduling calendar for that property that we mocked up. So basically, like, I think the key thing here is that when people ask, what can it do? Really, the question is, like, what is it connected to? And it sounds like a really obvious thing. Like, if it's connected to my email, you know, it can read emails, it could draft emails. If it's connected to Xero, it can do my accounting for me. And if it's connected to my CRM, it can do something. It can, like, look at my contacts and prioritize, you know, my leads or whatever's coming through. But it is literally that simple. I think this is often the hard part or the challenging part, that kind of we've made simple, and we've done a lot of development to make it so. But effectively, at a concept level, you just need to connect your agent or your OpenClaw to different business applications that you use, and then talk to it like you would as a real person, like an employee, and then tell it the task you want it to conduct there. And the reason why this is so powerful is because it gets sharper over time. So as you're having these conversations with it, incrementally, it'll remember things, you know, that you tell it. So it'll talk about your preferences. It'll remember things that you think really matter to it. Just like if you had an employee and you were saying to them, "Oh, we want you to, like, remember this next time. Next time you do this task, we want you to remember this." And it can also pick up on patterns of behavior that you have across your conversations to improve how it interacts with you. But it is one of the benefits of having this, of an agent set up and connected to your business data effectively. And what that allows you to unlock to do is you can stack all of these different tasks, I guess, instructions that you're giving it, and then over time, you can do multiple things at once. And so basically that's what the big unlock here is that it's a completely new way of working. So instead of, you know, sitting down at your computer and, like, this is what Daniel and I experience. It's instead of sitting down at your computer and kind of looking at exactly what's in front of you and, like, thinking about it and then kind of finish it, not stopping until you finish that task. I guess, you know, everyone's in two modes, right? You're in the mode of, like, getting work done, and you're in the mode of like meetings and kind of between meetings and managing things between meetings. But I guess what this allows you to do is, even when you're between meetings, you can still get things done without you having to have a huge amount of input if they're set up on an ongoing schedule. And so the idea is that, like, over time, you're stacking these different, like, workflows and agents as they're running. So you're automating more and more things, and you're effectively getting a lot more done, significantly more done with significantly less input.
Sure.
And effort. And I guess, like, something to realize is that there's a lot of talk about AI, and a lot of people are saying, well, how can we use it? But not a lot of people are actually using it. So this is real data from the National AI Center and AI Adoption Tracker. You'll see lots of different numbers that people throw around. Often those numbers are really just, they're not, it's not really a very good data set. And so basically they're pulling figures from like 1 year and then stringing it together with figures from another year, and it kind of looks like AI is inflated. But really what's happening here is that because there's not many people, there's people using AI, but they're mostly using a browser. They're using ChatGPT or they're using Claude in a browser. There's not many people using an agent. And I guess that's where like there's a benefit or an ability to get ahead of the competition by starting to do this stuff before it becomes default, I guess. And the way that we think about it is in 3 levels. If we're thinking about like where we spoke before of like the ultimate goal is to have this unlock, right, where you can have multiple activities running on your behalf or multiple agents running on your behalf, executing tasks without a lot of your input, and they're running on a continuous schedule. That's where we see like level 3, where you've got that incremental benefit. It's either getting stuff done that you ordinarily wouldn't be able to do, or you needed expert input to do, or whatever that happened to be, or you're actually just running things on an ongoing basis. But where we see most people is they're sitting around like the ChatGPT and browser AI, which is like basically copying and pasting, like getting a really good draft of an email done, or reviewing a quote or a proposal that you're putting out. Like that's where most people are at. And it's really good because it's like you can get more done, and you can get a probably better quality output. But it's kind of like a stepping stone into AI to familiarize yourself before you kind of get to a stage where you're running all this stuff on an ongoing basis. Pretty wild. So yeah. Where's everyone else? Just a bit of a pulse check. Where's everyone at in terms of like levels of their use of AI? Would you say that you're like on a level 1, or are you kind of experimenting with having an agent kind of do tasks for you, or have you tried that at all?
I personally haven't, mate. I wouldn't even say I'm at level 1. I find it so intriguing. I know it's going to be useful for my business. I'm very basic. I've used ChatGPT on a very basic level, and it's admittedly for someone that's not hugely tech savvy, which I need to become because of the shift of our business and how rapidly it's growing. But I'm excited to get a part of it, and hence the reason why I'm here. But I'm way down at ground zero.
Yeah. But it doesn't take too long actually to get from where you're at. I think what I've noticed is that the reason why we like working with business owners is like I think that's where the value is. Like as in that's where people can get a lot of value out of it. But also like business owners in particular, they're used to, you've got staff, you're used to directing people and giving them a process. And so like that's what you're doing when you've got an AI. You're effectively like onboarding a new kind of robot human, I guess, in some ways, that is really capable, but you need to go through like a similar process, I guess, of onboarding them into your business. And that's what like I think a lot of business owners are really used to, which is why this feels natural in a lot of ways to business owners. So
it is overwhelming when I think about it, but that's because I don't know anything about it, right? But it's exciting. But then when you think, I wonder, where do I start? How do you start? I've not bought anything yet. Again, this is my first engagement, but I think me thinking that I've got to understand everything and it's got to be perfect before I get started is where I'll probably miss the boat. I need to just get started, and I understand. I get it. I need to then progressively learn and.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good question. We're going to answer that, like where to start and kind of where's the right to pitch at, like so that you're building skills over time. So, Sam, Jerry, and Dylan, is there anything you wanted to say on
like,
that?
because I was sort of interested in pretty much some sort of admin AI help for my business. I was more curious about like the speculation behind it and if it is effective as people try and sell it to be. Because we're in the process of either needing more admin staff or hopefully being able to utilize this as best as we can to then save costs on needing that additional admin. It's just hoping it helps the other admin we already have. But we know, like, I know nothing about it. I've never used it. I've had a few. I tried an AI agent once, and it was terrible. Yeah, the phone answering we got laughed at a few times. So it was, now it's like, I want to try something new, and everything you see about the OpenClaw just seems to be, I don't know, it seems pretty effective and helpful in a lot of aspects, not just, the one we had was basically just for inbound calls. I want something that's pretty much helpful across the board, probably more back end of the business than the lead side of it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think like that's a really good point of where, like, what do you use and what do you expose to customers? And we can certainly talk a bit more about that. I think, and then your other point around like what's real, like what can it actually do? So, and where are the limits of AI at the moment? And I think you can get like just on the voice calling agent, because I think firstly, I think that if it's done in a way where you're speaking with customers using an AI agent to speak to valuable customers that would expect to kind of feel respected in some ways, it's a it's maybe not doing the relationship justice.
Many favors,
like if say for instance, you're talking with a B2B customer, but I think like where it does help is for efficiency in that case. Like if there's places in the business where you couldn't necessarily answer like that, when we had the property agent, AI agent, that's the use case is new properties on the market and there's an open for inspection. They want to drive numbers. They've got this big database. They don't know who's cold traffic or who's like not interested at all, who's interested, and they just want to be able to get out to as many people. Like you saw that demo was for 300 people, and it's just like getting that volume out, which is probably the right place to do it. But so yeah, I think those things are you want the right use case for your business, and you want the right tool as well. So and an AI voice agent is cool, but it's certainly not like the main thing that we see our customers use, because there's so many other things that you can automate before then. And the second thing is these things are changing really quickly. Like the sophistication of AI agents and their ability to act like a human. Like we've got one that kind of replicates my voice, and that's going to sound a lot more real than something that's artificially created. And so, like you can do a whole lot more and configure it, but yeah, I think picking the right task and the right audience is important. So yeah, I think you'll get to your other question too around where's the limit. I think that's a good one, Sam. So
yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I'm in a similar position as well, where I'm just trying things and implementing things, seeing what works in this current day. The way it was, 4 or 5 years ago, completely different to what it was today. Like 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't implement an AI voice agent person. I did that for the past 6 months for sort of when I don't answer the call when it goes to voicemail, which is pretty good at getting information there. But any further than that, and the clients they'll just go somewhere else. They hate it so much. But I know in another 5 years, it's going to just compound and be way better. So that's what I'm hoping for. And, if we sort of get on board now and sort of have an understanding, then in that 5 years, it's going to be a lot more simple because we understand it at this sort of level, and it's going to get easier, I think, to understand even, but knowing the baseline is really cool as well. So that's why I'm sort of interested in this as well, seeing what I can do, because I only really use ChatGPT and do a lot of automations with that through my trade business. And ServiceMate does what I use as well, does a bit of it in the back end as well, and you can integrate and stuff. But I'm just really interested to know where it goes from there. So I'm just on the front end of it too. So yeah,
awesome.
I'm probably at level 1. I mean, I'm using ChatGPT all the time, but just to copy paste back and forth. Never really had an agent. I sort of can understand the big SaaS programs as well.
I think it's just cut out, Jerry. I just missed what you said.
Yeah, I've had big SaaS, email programs and going to webinars and marketing type stuff set up, but it's you put yourself on voice and let it do that for you. So just interested to see what I could do in saving costs, really.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sounds good. All right. Well, yeah, we want to get to, and I guess I might just kind of move on here. Then we can answer like a lot of these questions at the back end if we don't answer them during the presentation. But I think like one of the big shifts and one of the reasons why like having an agent is really good. And some of you are probably familiar with this, but you're owning an asset, like you're building intellectual property effectively as you're doing this, because your agent is running on your own dedicated server, and you're building your own data. You're putting your prompts in. You're building workflows on top of it, and so theoretically, like you can take that anywhere because it's an asset that you own. And that's kind of building on what you have week by week. So it's like compounding, I guess. And just as we saw before, when like your AI agent gets sharper because it's got a memory and it can understand like your preferences and your business's needs, it can adapt to when you make a request. It's going to take all that information into account. Whereas when you have like Claude or ChatGPT, you're probably like familiar with the whole thing where you have to like retype your prompt, you have to give it a lot of context, you have to tell it like exactly how you want it, and sometimes it can't even get everything you want as part of that prompt, and you have to repeat it. Like all of that sort of effort, a lot of it goes away when you have your own agent because the data's already there. Yeah, so I guess the idea is like owning something instead of renting it. And I think the other thing that's important to know is that the way that an agent works, and Daniel's going to go into this in a sec, is basically your agent, you speak to it, and then your agent acts on that. But it's the way that it does its work is that it's using these AI models in the background. Like it is using Claude in the background. It's using like the ChatGPTs of the world. But basically what's happening is that the best model is changing week by week. And so in like another 3-6 months, Claude may not be the best AI model. Like it's going to be up there, but we're seeing that these models are changing very frequently. Like if we go on our website, for instance, there we built a model guide, which basically, and I'll just quickly bring this up so you can see what I mean. But we built a model guide where you have like all the different AI models, and look at kind of their benefits or what they're good for, and the ranking of them per capability. So like, for image generation, if you want an agent to build an image that's going to be different to a video, and like, I guess that's going to be different to speaking to it or getting it to like have it be a voice agent. And so because these like AI models are going to change constantly, an AI agent is independent of those models. So you can select the best model for the right task effectively. Does that make sense? I know that's like a more complex idea. But does that sort of make sense? Or do we have questions on that? Feel free, anyone, to like ask it. If it's not clear, we can go over it. Okay.
So these are
you got
skills. What?
I didn't catch that.
I think Jerry's. Yeah, I couldn't get that. Why don't we? I couldn't get that, Jerry, either.
Yeah. So to me, it's the way I'm just going to try to repeat back what you said and see if I'm right. So it's a different skill they can do. I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm not sure with the internet for you, Jerry, but I couldn't quite get that question.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah. So what you were describing there was when you're setting up the skill or the agent picks the skill to use and then also picks the right model to talk to that skill. Is that what it is?
Yeah, effectively, like you're wanting to just to kind of repeat that if it was because it's a little bit broken up, but basically you're wanting your agent to use the best model, like the right model for the right task. And so different models have different capabilities. Like some are really good at being a voice agent. Others are really good at research, like customer research or coding, for instance. That would be like another skill. And they also vary in cost. Like some are really cheap, some are more expensive. And so really what you're wanting to do is like you're wanting to pick the best model for the task that you're doing. And so having an agent, what that allows you to do is just separate your knowledge base and kind of your agent from the model it's using, because the model is always, it's going to change. Like it's going to continually change in the future. That's not something that you need to worry about too much, because I guess like that'll become self-evident once you're using it. And I guess that's why like you've got people like Daniel and I to kind of help as you go along. But yeah, I think what might help.
Does the agent automatically pick the model? It already knows which model to pick. You have to assign it which model to pick to do which job.
So we're building a routing. We've built a router, like like where it automatically, where you can select a different one of the 300 AI models. The function to automatically route is not as good as it needs to be for it to be relied upon. But we're actually making it much simpler. So we've got something in our backlog that we're building at the moment, which is like you basically ask your agent, like your agent will ask you what task you want to do. And then we've predetermined like some good models based on that task. And then it will ask you like, kind of like what you have in ChatGPT or Claude, like, do you want, is it like in this task, is it a simple task, or do you want something that's going to really like think through this in a complex way, so that it takes away like a lot of this decision making for you.
But to add to that, actually, a lot of the value with an agent, and we'll talk more about that later, is basically on it doing things for you in the background, right? So it's, it's like not to be, you don't really want it, like it can be reactive and you can use it like ChatGPT, and there are ways for it to choose the best model for you. But the real breakthrough for most businesses is when, you set up these, like it's called workflows, or you can call it automations or stuff like that. And you'll think through like, what are like the workflows or automations where I want an AI agent to do these things for me, every hour, every day, every minute, every month, whatever you are thinking of. And so when you set these things up, you can explicitly choose, and like we'll guide you on that too, like which model to choose for that task. And it's really about like the things you want to consider there is obviously the capability of the model. And you could just use, like the best model right now. At the moment, it's probably from Anthropic is the best model for most things. But that might be cost inefficient, or maybe for copywriting, there's a different model that's better. And so, for these workflows, you basically choose what's the best model beforehand when you set up these workflows. And could be different models for different workflows, and even different models for different parts in the workflow.
Can I do something like this? It's like send an email, do a booking link, or create an email campaign for me and write the email and put my booking link in there, and it'll just do it all. I just explain the goal, what I wanted to do, and then it would build the workflow on myself.
Yeah, it'll build the whole. Yeah, we actually have a demo of that.
It's funny that you mentioned that. We're going to show exactly that in a moment.
Yeah. So I just do this and do that and do that, and just you already know, because I've used ChatGPT, and I have just recently hooked it up to my Gmail and my calendar and stuff like that. And I can just tell ChatGPT, just like, hey, send an email and say this in the email, and then book me a reminder to call them up, and it'll do it all. It just does it.
Yeah, totally. It can do that. Yeah.
I think the idea is that it'll do that. Like, I think that's like that's like a simple, like a relatively straightforward like task. The benefit, but like that's kind of the concept. But it's just that you just like with an agent like this, like with an OpenClaw, you can just do a lot more, and you can do a lot more complex things. Connected between many different applications, or like very customized to your business effectively. I think what we might do, like let's go on to the next bit, Daniel, and then you can maybe talk through like what it can't do, because I think this answers some of Sam's questions.
Yeah, sure. I mean, basically, like it can do basically anything you connect it to, right? And so, but I guess like with that, like it's basically great power, but with that comes great responsibility in a way. So, what we're like the way that we're thinking about it, and what we recommend our customers to do is to like follow a few guidelines. And so some of these are the ones here on the slide. And so the first one is probably not to give it unrestricted access. And what we mean by that is to not give it to unknown third parties, or not to anyone outside of your team. And the idea there is that it's actually a quite deep idea in security practices around AI agents. But if you only have trusted individuals interact with it, that already makes it way safer for you, like when you connect it to tools. And if there are use cases where you do want to expose an agent to untrusted individuals, in any case, I would recommend you to talk to somebody like us, and just make sure that this is secure for you. The second one is, if you have like, you can only automate what you've already got, or where you already think in a systems way of thinking. So if you've got a mess and there's nothing to automate, like, you can just automate like a faster mess, right? So, and like, I guess the third one is that this is really a new skill, and it's actually, this word is used so much, but it's actually true that it's a new way of working. And it's something that I think everybody that we see needs to develop a feeling around. And so ideally you start a bit locked down. So for example, you imagine you want to automate your emails. You can give the agent the permission to only draft an email or to only read emails and give you a summary at the beginning, right? And you can like run these kind of things for a couple of weeks. Maybe it just drafts the emails for you, and you still read through the draft, and you develop the feeling for how does the agent do these kind of things for your business. And then once you develop the feeling that, oh yeah, this is actually pretty good and this works, you can go a step further in, you can now send the emails automatically for me. I guess depending on your like risk tolerance, you could obviously start, like it can send emails obviously, and it can do all of these things, but if you've never used it before, it's probably best to just start with read only or draft only and still be in the loop and develop this, feeling.
Yeah. And I mean, it can do really complex things. Like we've got some friends who use it for financial trading. Now, obviously that is like with data, they've got some guardrails around that because the account only has a certain amount of money in it. But that said, like that's on the extreme of risk. And I think like obviously we wouldn't recommend that someone start with that at all. Like these are software developers that are kind of very familiar with all this stuff and are kind of using it to play around and kind of test the technology. But I think like there's a wide risk tolerance and you've got to decide for you like what that is. And I think often we see that the best way to start is in internal processes effectively. And that internal process can still be connected to growing your business, like following up leads or doing quotes or that sort of thing. But it's not interacting directly with customers. And that just means that you've got an additional kind of cushion between you and kind of something happening that you don't want to have happen. So yeah.
And then like one of the questions that we also get quite a lot is how technical do I actually need to be for all of this? And it's like quite a big, it's like it can be a little bit intimidating, like AI agents if you've never used it before. But it's actually like, it's big words and stuff like that. But at the end of it, you talk to it in natural language and you instruct it like an employee. Like we love this analogy actually, because it really is like an employee. And like you have to obviously like, know what to ask and ask it, but then your agent basically by being connected to like your apps, like your, I don't know, emails, CRM, we've got a ServiceMate integration that some of our customers use and so on. It can get these things done. So it's really a natural language, and it's almost like kind of like how technical do you need to be to find something on Google? And so it's like there is like a little bit of an element of developing a feeling or a little bit of a skill for how to Google effectively, right? But you don't really have to be technical to find something on Google, and it's like it's a little bit similar with AI agents. So yeah, I guess with that, like we want to just showcase like how that works, and so we've got a bit of a live demo prepared.
Well, it's not really prepared. It's like I mean, it's
like, we've got a scenario prepared.
Yeah, we've got a scenario.
And I guess that's always risky to do a live demo, but let's hope that the demo gods are with us. So I'm sharing my, like this is our company Slack workspace, and we've got our own AI agent obviously set up. It's called Sky. And so then you can probably see that this is like the call that you made just before to the AI agent.
Right.
So it just came through on this, but basically, like, we use this channel to talk to it, but we can also, mention our OpenClaw in any other channel. And we've got it connected to our CRM and to our email and all kinds of things. And we actually
and everything,
and so it can actually do things. And we thought, like, why don't we ask it to design an email and send it out to all of you guys? And just to show.
But she didn't do this one tonight. She forgot to do the one for tonight.
The funny thing is, actually, we didn't use our OpenClaw to send out the sequence for the pre-webinar sign up. We did it directly in the CRM. And so that's why I'm like, let's see. It's a live demo. But so the way that we talk to it, we can obviously message it, but we can also just do a voice message and it'll do it. And so I'll just record like a voice message. Hey, send an email to all of tonight's webinar participants. There should be an email list called webinar participants with today's date. Just design the email, introduce yourself, and just send it out straight away.
Should we do it in our branding, Daniel?
It'll do it in our branding automatically.
Okay.
And so I guess like that's also one of the things where it has like some context about us, right? So I didn't have to tell it like what's our CRM, and I didn't have to give it a lot of context that you would usually need. And now it's going. This might take a couple of minutes for it to actually do it. But usually what we do is like, if we ask it to do things, the idea is like it's like an employee, you delegate the task and then you move on and check back later. But like the second thing that I actually wanted to show was then like how our dashboard looks like. Just while this is working. And so like the way that it actually looks like when you have an OpenClaw with us is like this will be your account, and this is our OpenClaw instance called Sky. You can see like some stats, and you can see what it's integrated with. And like one thing that we also always do is like coaching and support, obviously. So you'll see these kind of things. And like I think actually one thing that's quite magical to me is like the way that you integrate it with your tools. So we've built like a bunch of like more than 1,000 integrations already with things. And the way that you would integrate it is like, I don't know, you click on Gmail, for example, and you just say connect to Gmail, sign into Gmail, and it's connected to your AI agent. So just want to show that. We started working on putting together more and more videos as well, on answering frequently asked questions and like just explaining some concepts around AI agents. So yeah, that's kind of like how the platform looks like, and the way that it works would like you can open your OpenClaw instance and talk through it like from the web, but most people actually just connect it to their to whatever they use to communicate. So like in our case, it's Slack. A lot of our customers use Telegram or WhatsApp or things like that, and so you'd usually just integrate it to that as if it was a teammate kind of, or like an employee.
Yeah.
So
can I just quickly ask? So we've got a so if I had an agent connected to my laptop, all of the things that are inside my office to do with my particular job. How do I'm assuming you obviously have a separate one, say for the office manager, or for the accountant, or for the project administration team, or for the contracts administration team. Is that right, or is this something that if the computers are still working off, say a share, share folders and emails are obviously integrated, but or different staff have access to different addresses, do you just have one agent that will obviously jump between all of them, or do you have a separate one for each person? Or
well, there are actually a few considerations, right? So you can have it's actually like, it's a bit of a concept, because you've got an OpenClaw instance, and that's like basically a dedicated server where your agent runs on. And then on that server, you can run as many agents as you want. And so we've got like all types of setups where, like some companies, they'll choose to say, okay, we'll have one instance, it's shared for everybody. And then, everybody gets like a personal agent, for example, on there. But then we'll have like an agent for marketing, an agent for, this other specific task,
sure.
other function. I guess the thing on that is that your agents on that instance are able to communicate and look at all the other agents' work. And so the consideration really is what type of data is, sensitive and should only be visible to like us, to you as the business owner, for example, or
sensitive
group of people. And so if you've got something like that, then you'd want to split it out into multiple instances. And then you would have like maybe one personal instance for you and one instance for the general team. And then maybe a separate instance for finance, for example, like for something sensitive. Like that's the way that we think about it.
Yeah, think of it, exactly as Daniel's saying. It's based on what data do you want shared across, and what data do you want separated. And so like we have this for a couple of people, where a couple of businesses where, like, depending on the size of the business. So like for a business with say 10 staff or so, they may not have a CFO, or they've got someone doing accounting, or maybe it's but they're effectively the accountant and also the business owner are looking and managing the finances. And so there's also strategy and specific company business model information that business owner doesn't want shared with, say, the person who's doing the marketing and like the person who's doing the delivery. And so they will have an OpenClaw that's specific to them and like the finance person, or like another director, for instance. And they kind of use it like a PA in some ways. So and then they'll have a separate one for their team. And so that's like a pretty common setup. But as the business gets bigger, what ends up happening is you have more functions, and then that separation of data needs to be more considered. I think like the separate point, and I don't want to kind of confuse this, because it can get like it basically doesn't need to get more complex than that, but it's just also another consideration is that if you think about your agent, and as Daniel said, it's sitting on a dedicated server. So basically that's like a piece of land, right? And then your agent is a house. And like, so you've got your house, your agent, and you have this piece of land. And like, if you have people on that land, anyone that has access to the land, which is that OpenClaw instance, can walk in and out of the house, right? So that's that concept. But like, say for instance, what happens is you want to have you want to have more and more things, more and more activities happening. You may want to set up these sub agents. So like different agents on the same plot of land. So like, just say you put a second house, on the piece of land, and then you put another house. And so like you could effectively on one piece of land, like at the server, you could have lots of different agents.
Sure.
But if you visualize it, like at a certain point, there's no more land for the there's no more land for more houses. And so basically, like, this is like a really kind of bastardized analogy that Daniel's going to probably wrap me over the knuckles for later. But like, basically, it's like there's too much going on that land. And so what happens then is the agent gets confused because there's too much going on. And so that's also another reason why, like, as you get more sophisticated with an agent, as you get more things going on, you want to make sure that the context that you're giving it is specific to the category of things that you're giving it access to.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel, okay. any changes on that?
No, I think it was great. I just wanted to quickly share, actually, we've got the agent actually responding like 5 minutes ago, saying like, I just sent this email myself to webinar participants.
I got that. Did everyone get that? Like, as a email? This could be an issue with our our actual domain that's being sent out for some reason, which I don't know why it was working yesterday, but this is what the email looks like. I'll show you just.
Yeah.
Did you get that too?
Yeah,
so,
no,
yeah, 5.
You showed, yeah.
So it just, that's what the email looks like from Sky. So yeah, you should all have that because we've got all your email addresses, but
I got it.
What was that?
I got the email.
You got the email?
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
Awesome. Cool. Fantastic. Well, let's go on to the next bit, Daniel.
Yeah. So I guess, on security, that's kind of I don't know, for some people it's a boring topic. It's kind of what got us into this whole thing, because it's like, it's really important, and it's like the basis of what we do and everything. So I could talk about this really in depth a lot, and anybody who's interested, we can have a chat on it on the side. But I guess the main things I just want to mention is that it's really important to not have this run on in the open on the internet, just because we've seen like that this can be vulnerable, like it can be vulnerable to cyber attacks. And so the way that we would run it, and that we run it on our platform, is that it's like on your own server, obviously, and it has to be like off the public internet, and there has to be like a secured gateway into your agent to make sure that nobody else except for you can access it. And so we've built that, but yeah, that's like a really important thing, no matter who you choose to set up your agent with. And like on our platform, I guess the other thing is we're using like multi-factor authentication, just to make sure that like even if somebody steals your password or stuff like that, you need like multi-factors to log in. We also log actions and like have like another I can't say it right now. We detect anomalies.
Anomalies. We detect anomalies.
Just to see like if something weird is going on, and have like alerts around that, and also have like an audit trail where you can see like every single access to your instance and things like that, just to have that explainability. And I think the other thing, like we had some people say, oh my god, like what if it does something that I don't want it to do? Like, can I just pull the plug? And so like obviously, like you can also pull the plug at any time from anywhere in the world on it, right? Like you log into the dashboard that I just showed you, and you stop it, and then it can't do anything anymore. We didn't have anybody who had to do that, but yeah, it's a possibility, and I think it's just like a bit of peace of mind, I guess.
And it's actually just on that point, and I don't know if you've seen, like, there's Mac Minis, and there's a whole lot of different ways that where you can basically set it up on a local machine that is in front of you, or you can set it up in the cloud. And I think, like, this is a key point, is that people will think that, oh, well, it's in front of me, I can just pull the plug, and therefore it's secure. But I guess the thinking is that you have to physically be in front of that Mac Mini, or have someone else take it out for you. And so the reason why we like the cloud, or like a dedicated server, is because you just get a lot more flexibility, and that comes from, like, your ability to pull the switch. So from security, it's easier to monitor and log, and then there are a whole host of other benefits some of which we've spoken about, like the ability to easily connect to lots of other applications, business apps as well. And
you don't have to run a server. Like, that is a whole, like, if the power goes out or the internet isn't there anymore, like, it's a headache. Or you have to update things. And yeah, so the other thing is, like, just on what it can touch. We talked about this a little bit, on how we should think it's best to approach it. And so we've set it up so that you can choose what is actually even possible for the agent to do, which is like another, it also plays into the security, right? Like, for example, in this case, you can set, like, okay, it can read my inbox, but it can't send on my behalf. So you have to confirm it first. And it can never move money, for example. And so they're like, those are considerations that you should make regardless of, like, what do you want to give it access to, and which actions should it be able to take. And and so you can do that. You can do those kind of things.
Yeah, but it's also not something that, like, as we're explaining this gives you options to be able to use the agent the way that you want to. You don't have to. The best way to kind of think about this is that as you're doing a thing, you kind of think through how you want to use it. Like, you can give it a general rule. For instance, only read my information, don't make any changes to my information. You can make general rules like that, and have your agent know that that's how you want it to act. But, like, a good way to do it as well is that when you're connecting an application, you've probably got in your head what you want it to do and how you want it to operate too. Like, for instance, if you're wanting it to go in your CRM, are you wanting it to just check records, or are you wanting it to, like, whenever you get an email, attach the email to a record? I know that some CRMs can do that, but, like, that's just like an example use case. So I think it's most practical to have, like, a very small, a limit of, like, general rules, and then have some that are specific to the applications that you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is, we had a question before earlier, which was about starting, like, basically, where do we start and where's a good place to start? And I think where we see people get the most value out of an OpenClaw, or, like, out of an agent generally, is to pick a task that is like a task that you know well, like, or a process that you know well, and you're just familiar with it. So you can instruct that OpenClaw to do what you want to do. And then the other thing is, because you don't want it to be too complex, but you also want it to be something where you're going to get a return from it as well. And that return could be something that is a return on your time. So you're taking less time. It's a repetitive task. We'd always say, so you pick one focus thing, you pick it that it's going to get a return. You're going to get a return in time or money, or it's going to enable you to increase your revenue, or it's, like, making you a lot more efficient. And then you're building you're building from there. I think what happens is that we see that people go and you can see on the right, they try and build all these things at once. They want to do a big transformation. Like they can see, oh, I want it to do this, and then that's really awesome to be so excited about it. But when it comes to actually doing something, you want to see the whole thing through, because then you can see how it works through like one iteration, and you can see like how you instruct it, how it gets better, and then you can go from there. And the other reason why it works really well like that is because it's learning about your business and your data and all these different things. Every task after the first is going to be easier. And so starting with 10 at once is like, you just, yeah, it's going to be there's going to be a lot too much going on, basically.
And it's also really a new way of working. So it's like, you can't, like, if you've never automated part of your business with an AI agent, it's really hard to think through, these are all the things I can do. Whereas like what we see that happens a lot is somebody will automate like one thing, like have an agent do one thing, and then you get like, you have like a whole different view on it, and you all of a sudden you get like 10 new ideas of, okay, like,
yeah.
All it better.
It's
and
a
that's why
light bulb moment.
Yeah, it really, like, we see that actually quite often, the light bulb moment. So that's why I think it's best to just start with one.
Yeah. I could imagine, like you were saying earlier, it's learning more about you and how you interact with it to then dial in to be more to fine tune what your requests are, or to give you more accurate information. So it'd be good, in my situation, be good to dial in on, say, business development and really finesse how I can target the my target market. Sorry, how do I find new opportunities, or rather than trying to do that and then do contracts administration and then do this and then do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And like with that, Sterling, like you can see, yeah, exactly right. Like you can see, like you might even have a larger piece of work that you want the agent to do, but you might break it up. So you might have, like, there's 10 steps or 5 steps in this thing, but something that's like really finicky is searching on LinkedIn and finding different people that match XYZ criteria, and then you're just getting it to do that. And it's kind of like, this is like getting used to Googling again, but in a completely new way. And then you're like, okay, cool. Now it's got the information. What do I want it to do? All right, well, I want it to draft a friggin' response for me. Like, let's draft a response based on research on their profile, and then let's get a tailored response. And then it's like, okay, we've got a tailored response. We're going to respond to that response. Like, it's, and then you can like think about it as, how is it connecting to your overall like business strategy? And I think like that's just like one little example, but you can see how things stack pretty quickly. It might not be necessarily too meaningful in the first thing, but yeah. And I think this slide talks about it a little bit. I think we see people who, like, they're holding off because they're thinking that, they're not sure whether it's going to be the right fit for them, or they're not sure how it's going to work. And then we see other people that they're trying lots of different tools, and they get some things working, but then they move on because there's another really cool tool to use. And I think like where the value compounds, like if we think about our businesses at the moment, there's probably some tools that we're using that we get a lot of value out of and that are really effective for our business. But there's probably another tool out there that does something even better. But at the end of the day, does it really matter? Like at this point, you're probably using that tool. It's embedded in your way of working. And if you're always waiting for it, there's always going to be something better. And I guess, like, we think that OpenClaw is here to stay, which is why we're building this whole thing around it. We spent a lot of time to do that. And so that's, I guess, a really good thing. But it's like the best thing right now. And we think for the future to build your business on for an AI agent. So yeah. And I guess just to illustrate that, we've got a few customers now that have taken this and just like run with it. And I think the people who have been successful have been the ones that have, like when I was speaking with Julian was saying to me, oh, like will it do this? Will it do this? Will it do this? Like he was really trying to make sure it could do everything he could get done. And then we ended up onboarding him, and he had some initial questions. And the initial questions, like I was a little bit nervous for Julian because they were really, really quite basic questions. And we actually had an onboarding call, like a full kind of coaching session booked for the Monday, because we onboarded him on the Friday, but he wanted to get done straight away, wanted to get started straight away. And I think like what Julian did was he just picked a task, he just went for it, and then we helped him answer a couple of questions. But over like the Sunday, Julian he redid his website, he redid his marketing, like his Facebook, like his meta ads. He redid the branding for a supplement company he has. He did his strategy for his project planning. Like he's just kind of,
that's cool.
He just kind of completely took off. And by Monday, like we're just getting these texts throughout the weekend, like, oh, this happened. I did this. I did this. I did this. And it's just like, you just see like the excitement build and kind of like being able to, do more. And I think that's like, I mean, he got there quickly, but it's only because I think what Julian and kind of like Grant and others that have done well, they've just really played around with it.
Sure.
And that's kind of the lesson from them, I think. And I guess the thing we'll leave you with is basically that it's like, as we said before, it's a skill.
Yeah. And I guess the more you're interacting with it, the more it's learning what the more it's learning from you. It's so I get that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like we'd love to. We're here can be here for like another 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever, or 15, however long, to just answer questions that are on your mind. But yeah, we'd also love to get you started and to start this journey with you, and yeah, get things.
Yeah. If I can quickly, sorry, I'll just quickly jump in and say, and then I'll let you lads go. I'd be keen to, just so I'm not taking up Jerry and the other lads' time, if I could look at organising just a one-on-one, leaving this will allow me to just have a think about some further questions, so I can, I guess, fine-tune what we run through. If I can have a chat to you another time soon. I think there's so many areas in my business that this could be, so beneficial. So, yeah, I'm keen to continue it, but so I don't bore everyone else. If we can organise a time to jump on for 15 minutes, that would be really good.
Awesome. Yeah, no, can do. Yeah, we'll get in touch, Sterling, and let's organise it.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Cool.
All right, well, I'll check out. Thank you so much. I'll chat to you guys in the next few days, eh?
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Cheers, eh?
Cheers.
Jerry or Dylan? Oh, I can't. Did you just ask, Jerry? Did you just ask how long does it take to set it up, or? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So, typically, so we're about 48 hours, to set it up. We're almost there that you can basically get it set up. We're working towards a setup that's almost instant, like within 5 minutes. With one of the tools, actually, like if you get set up through Telegram, it's basically almost there. So we can't release that just yet, but yeah, basically it's like at the moment, if you give us like 3 to 5 days, like it's all set up for you. And I think the reason why we want to take that extra time is because like we look at taking in your personality, like and what you want your OpenClaw personality to be like how you want it to respond to you and interact with you. And we take down like a few things of how you want to use it as well, and then help you to get set up with the tools that you use. So yeah. Does that answer your question, Jerry?
All the the other apps that I have, email accounts and CRM and maybe the meta ads, and, Facebook for posting videos and stuff. And I do like I have a video editor. Does it connect to that as well? Or?
Yeah. So you can check out I'm just going to bring up, so I guess it's, I might just repeat that for anyone who's listening, but basically, so on our website, we have our integrations, and you can search on here publicly, like what we've got. So if you say Meta, like you can see we've got Meta ads. We also have like the Google suite. We've got a lot of like the Google products. But basically, like if you wanted to go for, say, CRMs, we have to take that out because Google's not a CRM. But basically you can see all the CRMs that we have. There's like three different pages of them, or you can search for one specifically. We have a couple of different, some of the tools like Google are plug and play. So basically, as Daniel was showing you before, once you have your OpenClaw instance, you get a dashboard. So we go through onboarding, you get a dashboard, and then you also get access to be able to add different integrations. So they're business apps. Some of those applications are instantaneous, or like basically you just have to connect it to your account. So you have to connect it to your Google account, etc. Some of them require a little bit more setup, and so they're not instantaneous just yet. And it's more.
Here's my, I did look at your said you don't have like Brevo. Here's my Brevo. Here's my Brevo API key. What password can just hook me up there to create a campaign.
Yeah, exactly. So I think like what we would do is we would in the onboarding sequence, you'll be asked with the applications that you want to connect, and then say for instance if it's like Brevo, as you were saying, like we have an integration with Brevo. So I actually haven't double checked. I don't know, Daniel, if that's like an OAuth or if it's a different setup.
Yeah, it's just a one click. That's actually what we use to send out that email. We're using Brevo as well. So yeah.
So basically like it's the same the same stack, like the technology stack that we've got. So basically you just click it and then enter in your details, like your username and password, and then it will authenticate, and then it's hooked up. And then and you can ask it a question, like you could hook it up and then say, who have I contacted in the last 30 days, or like give me a list of my lists, my email list, or which segments.
Yeah. I clicked on that booking link.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So it's, to me it sounds pretty solid, and let me come back to. There's a few other little things I keep looking at, and I just haven't pulled the trigger on anything. It had put a lot of time in the past, I'd say 2 weeks into researching through this, and that's probably why I missed the link thing, because I've got to get back to work. Like so much is work is stacking up.
Yeah.
I can't turn it away. Give me a couple of weeks and I'll come back to you.
Sounds good. Awesome. And Dylan, was there anything that you wanted to talk through? Dylan's still there, but
I got dinner on the table. I got one.
Yeah, but
you don't have a wife that makes you do it. What's going on? How do you guys get to sit there on the? I'm angry right now. Dude, dinner's on the table.
Yeah. Hey, Jerry? Was this a good time to run the webinar, or would it be better if it was earlier or later?
I do webinars sometimes, but I'm dealing with like property investors, and this time of night is usually the only time, because these are people who work,
Yeah.
these are business owners. They're people who got jobs, and now they've gotten off work and they got kids, and it's like, they got short spans of time. So a lot of times it's at nighttime. So I think it's that. For you guys, you could try some in the day as well. Like at certain days, people like probably a Wednesday at 1 o'clock, right after lunch, that would match up with business people. They're like, all right, you're trying to figure out the next thing to do. Oh, okay, I got a slot for you to do something, or to own the business rather than in the business type thing. But yeah.
Cool. Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, no, thanks so much for joining, and we'll be in touch soon.
I appreciate the webinar.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Jerry.
thanks for coming. Thanks for coming, guys.
Catch you soon.
Bye.
Okay, bye.